cause I'm a Raider, Oakland Raider. From the Bay to LA to Las Vegas.
Just win, baby.
A boss player. And if you with me, pop your collar, shake them haters. I'm a Raider, Oakland Raider. From the Bay to LA to Las Vegas. Cause I'm a player, boss player. And if you with me, pop your collar, shake them haters. I'm a Raider.
What is going on, Real Raiders Podcast? I'm your host, Victor Freeze, back with the one and only
Mariano.
And you know, we're back to give you all the silver and black news. So this week, Mariano, hit them off. What are we talking about, man?
Of course, we got the news and notes of the week like we do every week. We're going to follow it up with a recap of the game last week, right, against the Giants. And then, you know, we got to preview a little bit of Chiefs week. This is a division rival, so we got a lot to get into. So go ahead and break it down, Vic. What's the first thing that we got to introduce?
So the most exciting thing of this week, you know, we're coming off of L, and clearly we saw an issue once the game is none of our wide receivers outside of Hunter Renfrow caught any balls, right?
Yep.
Zay Jones caught one ball, but Brian Edwards is held catchless, right? So we signed Desean Jackson immediately after the game was done. You know, there was probably already talks even before.
After.
Yeah, right after. There's probably talks even before the game even started. You know, they already had him locked in. He probably was just waiting to announce it. But we signed DJax, you know, some veteran presence. Obviously, we were missing a hole there with Ruggs. We seen there was no big plays over this last weekend. And might take DJax probably 1 or 2 weeks to acclimate himself to this offense. But I think he should be a key acquisition, even if we just use him as a decoy. Like I was telling Mariano earlier, we were discussing this. Even if we use him as a decoy, like we did Ruggs last season. What do you think on the DJax signing, Mariano?
I love it. It fills a void that we needed, and clearly the offense was missing something last week.
Yeah.
And he's a vet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's less of a diva than someone else who's a free agent right now. So, I mean, at the moment, he's at the back end of his career. He's here to do one job and one job only, and that's to stretch the field. We have no other receivers that can do that right now, and he fits that role perfectly. He's probably one of the best to ever do it, to simply put it. Another thing is that, you know, obviously he's going to be respected. Is DJax. Every single player on that football team knows who the fuck DJax is, right? So that carries some weight. I think that his reputation in the league will buy him in at least for this season to finish out the season.
Yeah. Move on to the next one, Mariano. Hit him with what we talking about.
Yeah, so it looks like Henry Ruggs is facing 50 years. They just keep on adding these felonies onto the poor dude, unfortunately. So yeah, it's going to look rough from here on out from Henry Ruggs. Initially, when all these reports first started dropping out, I was like, man, he's going to beat that. He ain't going to do no time.
2 to 20 is what he was looking at, right?
Yeah.
He found the gun in the car.
Yeah, it's just everything is pointing at him not making it out of this without doing some serious time. Yeah. But again, at the same time, these are all max things, right?
Yeah.
We know that he's going to hire probably the best lawyer that he can, which I'm sure he already did. He's using the same lawyer that Josh Jacobs used.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is we didn't hear a peep out of the Josh Jacobs thing. It was that one little stint, like, oh, he was on TMZ, and then, like, nothing.
The mugshot, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You didn't hear nothing else from the league or nothing because he was never. I think they lowered the charges to like a misdemeanor or something like that because they couldn't prove it.
Yeah,
they couldn't prove it. So with Henry Ruggs, it's looking just rough. There's just
so many damning evidence, and that's why he was released so fast too.
Yeah,
that's why they didn't waste no time releasing him.
Yeah, for sure. The next one is that Darius Philon was put on IR for, I don't know, he's banged up.
Yeah, right? I don't know. Did they go into, I don't know if they went into detail on the injury. Let's see. We just know he obviously got injured last week against the Giants and didn't come back, and now it just says he's headed to a knee injury.
Well, CBS says with ankle injury.
Oh, ankle. Okay, this one's the older one. My bad.
And then
it's an ankle injury. Yeah.
ankle injury, so at least we know that he's going to be gone for at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Moving forward, so Solomon Thomas is going to have to step up and do his part.
Kendall Vickers got promoted to the active roster too because of that consequential move.
Yeah.
After that, we released Damon Arnette because this motherfucker was acting a fool on the internet, saying he was gonna kill fans and showing them guns and stuff, bro. Like, there's already enough heat on the Raiders, bro. You should know that it is out of pocket to tell people that you're gonna kill them. You can tell them to pull up. Cool, tell them to pull up. That's fine. Don't be over there showing the gun and stuff, talking about motherfucker this and doing extra, bro. Just
you are a whole, I don't know. You're held to a different standard now. You're a professional football player in the National Football League. So just have some respect, man. It's a bad look for the Raiders, obviously.
Especially with everything that's going on, bro.
Yeah, especially with everything that's going on. In the long run, in the grand scheme of things, I really hope that this does not affect Mike Mayock.
Yeah, because that 2020 class is looking disastrous.
It is looking disastrous, but they all can't. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. They all can't be home runs. We know that, but you can't miss on every single one at the same time. At the end of the day, I really want to see Mike Mayock back. I don't want to see this massive turnover of everything.
Yeah, I want to keep the staff, and if Mike, sorry, I would rather just like replace Rich if we have to replace Rich because he's doing a good job so far. Mm-hmm. Obviously, last week we had a little, roadblock, but I don't want none of the staff replaced. I don't want Mike Mayock gone. We've seen him get all these gems in the late round. He's like actually doing so good for our team that it doesn't even matter that we're getting Damon Arnette out the door because he wasn't a factor so far this season, right?
Right.
So, yeah, for sure. I do want to keep Mike Mayock 100%.
Yeah. And before we get into any more, I did want to drop this number for you guys. You can reach us at any time on the show, 415-634-9086. Leave a message. You guys can tell us what you think, how dumb we are talking about the Raiders and our stupid takes, or that you mess with us, all right? So either way, whatever your opinion is, we would love to hear it. Text, call, text, make it happen. The next one is, it looks like the OBJ sweepstakes are kind of done.
Yeah.
For the Raiders. The Raiders were in it very, very early, and then it seems like once it really became an option, the Raiders chose DJax over even being in the OBJ sweepstakes, which I did read a tweet today that there could be 8 teams that have offered OBJ. The question is, Vic, do you think that the Raiders are one of them?
Reports came out earlier that the Raiders were reserved on pursuing OBJ, obviously because of his antics on and off the field. But we do know, obviously we worked out some receivers earlier in this week. Obviously none of them panned out since they didn't sign with us, but we are still in the market. Hopefully, I'd like to have him because it wouldn't hurt to have another receiver, obviously, of a caliber of OBJ. But it looks right now he's going into either the Saints or the Packers, to be honest.
I'd still like to have him.
Yeah, for sure.
Or the Chiefs. Ooh, you've seen the Chiefs, right?
I saw the Chiefs, yeah.
See, if he goes to the Chiefs, I still don't think that's going to solve. That's not going to do anything for the Chiefs right now. I mean, it might. Yeah. It might. But at the same time, they can't block. They can't block anybody. I mean, Pat Mahomes is under pressure every throw. And, I see the national media talking about Pat Mahomes, and he looks terrible. But, I mean, any quarterback would look horrible when he's running for his life constantly. Yeah. Anyways, I'm getting off track. The next news and notes of the week that we got is Andre James, top-ranked player, Pro Football Focus, top-ranked center, which is awesome. It's clear that this offensive line is really gelling together now.
Let me add on top of that, it was just for last week against the Giants, but still, it's a huge thing coming from where we started till now. And then the last 2 weeks, he's graded out as the number 2 center in all the league. So that's crazy. So the last 2 games he's had, we've seen that tremendous growth, and I think it also helps that we did move Leatherwood in the inside tremendously. I think that helped his game out for sure. But as you can see, this was a young offensive line. You know, we knew this from the jump. But now you see some of that stuff starting to gel together. And we're in the middle of the season now. So it's looking good. You know, that Rodney Hudson has been graded. This is his worst season he's ever had.
Really?
With the Cardinals, yes. This is the worst season he's ever had.
Well, he just came off of IR, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he just played this last week. Which is looking like the right move. I mean, for the most part. Right?
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Next, Mariano.
Trayvon Mullen, off IR. Hopefully Thanksgiving week, according to Rich Bisaccia. Right? So hopefully we can get Trayvon back. Faison is playing well. One thing that I did notice, actually, I'm not even going to get into it because that's the next segment. I don't want to get too carried away. We do that too often on this show, Vic.
We do.
Way too often.
We're just that passionate.
Faison is playing great. Nate Hobbs is playing great. Casey Hayward's playing great. Trayvon Moore is playing outstanding football. It's going unnoticed by a lot of people
because he's doing his job.
He's doing his job. He's a sure tackler. It just seems like he's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this watching the games, but when he's coming up to make these tackles, that was never really happening the previous years. Those would be like 40, 50-yard gains.
Or missed tackles.
But he's tackling at the sticks, so they are getting first downs. But again, in years past, when we had Eric Harris and all these other guys,
those were those big plays.
Those were the big plays, right? They would miss a tackle and then boom. But from what I've seen, he's doing his job. And that's going to continuously, what's going to happen as his career progresses, as long as he stays on track, is that he's going to make the plays that come to him, right? Which it looks like he's doing now. He just needs to continue on that path and keep getting better moving forward.
A bright spot in the season.
It's the defense, man.
Yeah.
Right? It's the defense.
Going on to the next and last note we have Nick Kwiatkowski and Keyshawn Nixon. We're out of practice today. They're both dealing with ankle injuries, that is. We also had Waller and Renfro and a few others. They were out, but these are just like regular, like veteran, you know.
Yeah.
The superstar rest days, you know, is usually Wednesday. That's what it is. But I think that wraps up the news and notes, Mariano. So we're going to switch gears here, and we're going to go on to our takeaways from the New York Giants game. You want me to kick it off, Mariano, or you got it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think this Giants game, it was a complete game, right? I think the only thing we faltered in was executing in the red zone. We know Derek Carr. We've seen Derek Carr had some tough time with some throws. I did like the game on all phases. I told you last week too. I was like that Giants defense is underrated. You know, they make plays.
100%.
And we've seen it happen. Pick six and another pick to seal the game. Not to seal the game, but the sack fumble to seal the game. They're an underrated defense. They're a good defensive unit, and I think we performed well. We just had to execute in the red zone. I think on all phases we were on it. This is different from like the Bears loss, because the Bears loss, you can see there was like no effort put on the field, right?
100%.
And then this one, I think there was effort. It was just executing in the red zone. I think that's where that got us. Because Mariano, like you said, right? I'll let you touch on that. What you were telling me, that they only scored the first touchdown, right?
Yeah. So the defense, they only allowed a score on the opening drive when the Giants got the football. And then other than that, they didn't give much up. I mean, the other points that they had received were just field goals and then Derek Carr's pick six. So my biggest thing is that if DC doesn't turn the ball over 3 times, we win that game.
Yeah.
Simple as that. If Daniel Carr's... there can be a multitude of different outcomes from this game. Daniel Carlson makes that kick. Then we're only down by 1 point.
Yeah.
And then maybe it progresses. I don't know. I mean, that last drive, they could have... Yeah, it was just all around. It just seemed like this Henry Ruggs stuff really affected them this last week.
Yeah.
And really my main point is that the defense balled out. They're clearly doing their job this year. This is all that we talked about all off season, right? If they could be a middle of the pack defense, put some pressure on the quarterback, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest difference this year, and the reason why we are going to make the playoffs. And it's just, I mean, obviously maybe it's coming from a biased view because I am a diehard fan. That might be an option. That might be why. But as long as DJax can work out and that offense we move the ball perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. We were running the ball. We were running play action. We were hitting Renfro. We were hitting Waller. So again, I think we're going to be just fine. And we're going to prove it this week against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think we could see from that game how the play calling was different too. Obviously, Ruggs, they went with the game plan all along, and then for that to happen on Tuesday in the middle of the week, I think it kind of derails the game plan. Wouldn't you agree, right?
Oh, for sure. 100%.
So that obviously affects that. And also, I want to talk about Brian Edwards, and he needs to get his shit together and learn how to separate because he has one of the lowest separation scores. I was reading I forgot what tweet it was. One of the Raiders analysts do a great job of doing all these little clips and stuff, right? Yeah. He's graded as one of the lowest receivers to be able to create separation with him in the corner. Yeah. So he needs to work on that for sure. He does have the strong hands and he plays those 50-50 balls, and that's great. But when you're the number one, you got to be able to separate for sure.
Yeah. I heard a lot of comparisons to T.O., early on, and he's just not that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the speed that T.O. had. I mean, T.O. was a fast fucking wide receiver.
Yeah.
And also big and physical at the same time. T.O.'s a Hall of Famer, right? It's kind of hard to...
Big shoes to fill.
Those are big shoes for comparison, let alone to fill. I mean, we haven't had a real good receiver like that since, Tim Brown?
Coop was decent.
Coop was okay. You seen he dropped that pass last week?
He did.
I was like, that's that Coop I know.
That's the Raiders Cooper.
That's him. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
But yeah, I think that wraps up our takeaways from the Giants game, unless you got something else, Mariano?
That's all I got.
That's it. So we're going to move on to Chiefs week this week, man. Mm-hmm. And we are on that ass. Last season we had their number both games. If Jonathan Abram didn't fuck up his coverage, we would have swept them that season. We would have had their number both of those games. I think especially the way our defensive line is playing and the way their offensive line is playing, I think we got their number this week too. To be honest, the key thing is to capitalize on those Patrick Mahomes turnovers. I was telling Mariano, they're playing sloppy football as of lately. We need to use DJax, obviously, as a decoy and continue running our offense in that manner. Score, and capitalize on those turnovers. And that's how we win this game. What do you think, Mariano?
My keys to victory are very, very simple. Usually, if you say this any week, you'll win football games. You win the turnover battle. That's the first thing. Vic touched on it already. He's basically turning over the ball. He's trying to make Superman plays when they just need to dink and dunk and move forward. He's not making those simple plays right now. Mm-hmm. And by he, I mean Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomo. My bad. I can't say that. Pat Mahomey. The next thing is I want the Raiders to run the football down their throats. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. I don't need DC trying to be Superman, make all these throws, hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake every down, right? I want like a 9-to-1 passing run ratio. Simple as that. If they do that, if they can establish a run early, control the clock, and for the most part keep Pat Mahomes off of the field, they're going to win this football game.
Yeah.
Now, Kansas City, they were held to 13 points the entire game. All right? They scored 13 points in the first half, and they went scoreless in the second half against an Aaron Rodgers-less team, which means, you know how many 3-and-outs I seen?
That was like a boring ass game.
Dude, so Pat Mahomes had plenty of opportunities to put more points on the game. It did not happen, right? This team is not the same Chiefs that we're accustomed to seeing that just went to 2 different Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So this could very well be a statement game. It's an in-division game. We have to win this game this week.
And it's a bounce-back game, too, off of that horrible loss against the Giants, bro. And we just got to execute on those plays that we didn't do last week in the red zone. We had plenty of opportunities in the red zone. All we got to do is execute this week. And we were running the ball great. I forgot to touch on this on last week, but when we got to the red zone, it was just a bunch of passes, right?
Right.
Why don't we run the ball in the red zone?
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Try to do some of that this week. Definitely run the ball in the red zone. Don't try to pass on much, especially when you know you're down your number 1 guy for the season, Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, I mean, that's our big play guy. Our offense was designed to compete with the Chiefs. Clearly, at this point, we have the better football team. So let's go win. Let's win the games that we're supposed to win. We already know how Andy Reid's going to attack our defense. He always uses misdirection. He's going to send jet sweeps. He's going to have running backs running this way, jet sweep coming this way, and then run a screen to the running back after he had already faked the handoff. There's little stuff that's going to happen all throughout the game through the misdirection. So this week is going to be a testament to their discipline, to the Raiders' defense's discipline. I mean, even last week I kind of felt like, man, where's Denzel Perryman at? Right? They were running the rock on. They were running it down our throats, and our linebackers couldn't stop nothing. Our defense couldn't hold. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm at.
That's your last note that you got on this game, Mariano?
Yeah, that's my last note.
I think we pretty much covered everything right there. So that concludes our last segment of the week. Once again, man, this channel was just crazy. I love making content for this channel.
Yeah.
Every week is so exciting to see new people, interact with us, even if it's some weak ass Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yeah,
on
some
our
trolls.
comments.
Don't be trolling us, man.
What are you even doing on our page? We don't play for till 2 weeks from now, bro. Come on now.
Hey, I wanted to comment back. Talking about y'all got beat by the Broncos. Just saying. Just saying.
It's all fun, man. We love interacting with Raider Nation specifically, bro.
Yeah.
And it's always dope seeing these videos do numbers and seeing the Instagram page do numbers. So if you guys want to interact with us, hit them with the number one more time, Mariano.
415-634-9086.
The second time for the deaf motherfuckers in the back.
415-634-9086.
So call us or text us to be featured on the show. We would love to have someone on here. We've been having this number up for weeks now. You motherfuckers ain't done shit with it. That's on you. And then we're probably looking to getting a guest on the show.
Yeah.
In the next couple weeks, right?
Yeah, that's going to be in the near future for sure.
Yeah. But I think that's it. That's all we got for this week. The Real Raiders. Love you guys. We're out of here.